Hi guys, welcome back to the channel, FPL Consult here, and today we're going to take a look at my Game Week 30 final team selection. So before we jump into today's video, I do understand that I have been quite quiet over the past few weeks, or at least across this international break, but that was because I did need a bit of a break from content because January, February and March was quite a bit of a grind for content. So I took a bit of a break. I hope you guys understand that as well, and we're gonna come back into content now from Game Week 30 all the way to the rest of the season. There have been a lot of developments since I last recorded a video. We have had double game week announcements. We have also had a rough prediction of how the future double game weeks are gonna look like, and thereafter we can start planning. So some chips are flying, etc. I will give my thoughts on them as we go along in today's video. Right, so hopefully you guys do enjoy this one and find it useful. If you do, please drop a like and also subscribe as well if you are new around here. So for Game Week 30, without any transfers made, I'm not even going to talk about Game Week 29 by the way, because Game Week 29 was an absolute disaster, right? And for Game Week 30, currently this is how my team looks like. I am my team is currently looking quite different from most of you guys, but that was because I wildcarded in Game Week 28. So just a bit of, I guess, hindsight thoughts on wildcarding in Game Week 28 now that we are here in Game Week 30. Initial thoughts was that it did feel as if it was a bit of a mistake because I did wildcard slightly earlier than planned, which was either in Game Week 30 or 31, which was part of the plan. I wildcarded in Game Week 28 to try and take advantage of the double game week in Game Week 28, and thereafter navigate Game Week 29, which was a blank game week there. I thought there were gains to be made there as well. And then potentially now in Game Week 30, my team would also look slightly better than initially if I had not wildcarded. So there is still Game Week 30 left, but as of now, things aren't looking too bright for the early wildcarders, myself included. But I have a rough plan, right? So for those of you guys who wildcarded early and are in my situation, I have a rough plan that does involve taking about 3 hits. So I will show you guys the plans later on, but 3 hits over the course of the next few game weeks from now until Game Week 37, and then set my team up for the bench boost. So I think overall, if I do take those 3 hits and stick with the plan that I currently have, the gains that I've made in 28 and 29 so far is 9 points. Hopefully I'm able to make more gains in Game Week 30 before Game Week 31 comes around, because that was initially when I was gonna wildcard, right? So last week for my wildcard 28 to make gains is now in Game Week 30. But that said, I think overall I won't be straying too far from, I guess, what most people's team would look like with the transfers that I have moving forward. So I'll show you guys the plans later on in the next section. But at least for Game Week 30, looking at my team right now without transfers made, here are my thoughts. So I think in goal, Neto is probably going to start ahead of Flecken for sure. In the back line, there is a bit of an issue because Zabani and Udogi, they're alright, they have home fixtures. It's not the best fixture for Bournemouth, and defensively they're not the most solid team. So doubling up on them is not ideal, but I don't think I have a lot of transfers to deal with that right now. Udogi against Luton is a good fixture. For Doughty, he plays Tottenham away, so not great, and obviously Luton are looking like they're going to concede quite a number of goals with the way that they're playing right now, and even at home defensively they don't look as solid as they were earlier on in the season. And then my other 2 defenders are Gabriel, who has Man City away. He's currently yellow flagged, but I think he should be fine, but he still plays Man City, so I don't really want to start him. And then there's Reguilon, who picked up a red card in Game Week 29, which we will remember, and thereafter he's now suspended for Game Week 30, but he will be back from Game Week 31 onwards. So those 2 options on the bench for me are non-options. So I think taking Doughty out is part of the plan already. So I will be removing Doughty. I'll show you guys who for in the next section. And then in midfield, it's Palmer, Bowen, Elanga, Saka, and Son. Saka currently has a yellow flag, but I think he should be fine for the game against Man City. I'm pretty sure that Arteta would make sure that give every chance to Saka that he'll start. So Man City away for Saka. Son and Palmer arguably have the best fixtures here in midfield, right? Son has Luton at home, Palmer has Burnley at home. So they are great shouts for the captaincy as well as vice captaincy. For Jarrod Bowen, I think he's a player that would likely leave my team for Mohamed Salah. Now, I am very, very tempted to go for Salah because I have loads of money in the bank, 11 million in the bank. Bowen to Salah is a very reachable move for me, and not a lot of teams are in a structure right now that can reach Salah in a move or two. So I think going for Salah and maybe even captaining him if I do decide to closer to the deadline is a way to kind of pull away from the pack, because there's only a couple of game weeks left. If I want to push into the top 50k at least, I need to take a couple of bold moves. Salah's ownership now is quite low. If I do move for him and captain him, the gains could be quite great. So Bowen to Salah is also a move I'm considering. And then in right smack in the center is Elanga with Crystal Palace at home. He is going to be quite a big differential for me. He did kind of have a good chance in game week 29. I would say that it was slightly unlucky that he did not pick up more returns, and even in the past few game weeks as well, he should have picked up even more returns. So looking at the way he's playing and how Nottingham Forest are attacking at the moment, I think there will be chances for Elanga. His numbers are consistently good as well. So he will be in my team for the foreseeable future until I remove him for Garnacho, which again I'll share with you later on when I make that move further down the line. Right, so in midfield it's going to be these five, and then up front it's Tony and Watkins. Definitely going to start both of them. Not ideal that I'm going to start Tony against Manchester United at home, but Brentford do have some things going for them. I think Mbeumo could be back quite soon, and obviously by now not a lot of people are going to go for Tony, but he did just pick up a goal in England's international friendlies over the international break. Maybe that sparks a bit of a return for him. I don't have transfers to remove him, so I'm hoping that he does start to pick up a bit of form until I transfer him out later on. Right, so on the bench, aside from Gabriel and Reguilon, which I mentioned just now, it's Flecken, and then there's Morris as well, who I will also remove come the time when it's alright for me to start loading up on double game week players. So just before we jump into my transfer plans, I currently still have my free hit with me, and I'm pretty certain I'm going to use it in game week 34, and that is because it will be a tricky game week to navigate, considering I will have by then quite a couple of Spurs as well as Chelsea assets. So Chelsea will be playing Arsenal that game week, Spurs will be blanking that game week as well. It just makes so much sense for me to free hit in game week 34, bring in maybe a couple of Crystal Palace and Everton assets if I want to, and then lose them immediately for the rest of the season. So free hit 34 is still part of my plan. Bench boost 37 is definitely going to be the case for my team. So I think I will have to start looking at all the transfers from now 30 until 37, bringing my team from how it looks right now to a team that is worthy of a bench boost in game week 37. I think I've worked out a bit of a way to get there with minimum hits. I think I have currently a minus 12. It could be slightly more if I want more double gaming players, but I think for the time being the minus 12 should be able to get me to a team worthy of a bench boost in game week 37. So let's take a look now at my future transfer plans, as well as how my team is going to look like for game week 30, because I do plan to take a hit now in game week 30 as well. So this is how my team looks like in game week 30 without transfers made so far. So for game week 30, again, I plan to remove Doughty. So Doughty is going to go out, and the player that I intend to bring in is Malo Gusto, because great fixture for Chelsea moving forward. They also have quite a number of doubles as well. So Gusto, I think he will keep his place. There is some talk about Reece James coming back for the time being, and also looking at how many games there are remaining, I'm not sure how much Reece James is going to come into the team and thereafter eat up Gusto's minutes. Maybe you could see both of them playing in some form of a 3-4-3 kind of formation, but we'll see what happens. For now, Gusto is part of my plan to come in, and thereafter I'll remove Bowen for Salah as well. So this would be for a minus 4, also leaves me loads of money in the bank still, but essentially what I've done is I've enabled my team to get Salah for the next few fixtures, which are really good for Liverpool. It's self-explanatory there. Those are all green fixtures for them. The Sheffield in 31 as well. Definitely going to have Salah. I could consider captaining him. I'll decide on that closer to the deadline. So with this minus 4, I have Gusto and Salah in the team. So just going to check my notes right now for the future transfers, because all the way up till game week 37, I do have a bit of a plan. So come game week 31, I'm likely going to do Watkins, who has Man City, out for Erling Haaland. So by then, I would probably think that it's alright to go without Watkins because the fixtures aren't really that good for Aston Villa for the remaining the games for the season, and they also don't have doubles. Haaland obviously doubles in game week 37 as well, and he's definitely part of my plans for the remaining game weeks. So this is just a move that I think is pretty straightforward. So Watkins out for Erling Haaland. Come game week 32, I can roll the transfer, and I do intend to roll it because obviously if you take a look at the team, Bournemouth has Luton away. Pretty decent fixtures for them. I think this is a game week I could get away with rolling the transfer. Even if I have to play Morris, who has Bournemouth at home, it's not the worst thing in the world. And then come game week 33, this is when I intend to make a double transfer, right? 2 moves, and this would be for free because I've rolled the transfer in game week 32. So it would be for Elanga out to Garnacho. So as I've mentioned earlier in the previous section, that Elanga to Garnacho is just a move I intend to do. I plan to do it in game week 33 for a couple of reasons. Because 34, yes, I intend to free hit, right? But if I do it any later, I would not have enough players from Manchester United for 35, 36, and maybe even 37 when they double later on, right? Because that is when I would want quite a number of Manchester United assets. So I want to make sure that from game week 33 onwards, I at least have a couple of Manchester United assets. So Elanga to Garnacho is the first one, and thereafter it's Gabriel out for Diogo Dalot, right? So by then, I would think that it is alright to sell Gabriel as well, because if you look at the remaining fixtures for Arsenal from game week 33 onwards, it's not particularly very easy fixtures, so I would be alright to part with Gabriel, considering as well that I'm free hitting in game week 34, which is likely when Arsenal will have a double as well. I can just free hit Gabriel back in and then lose him afterwards. That's fine as well. But at least after the free hit, I would get Garnacho and Dalot back into the team, right? So if I just set this team up for game week 33, it probably looks something like this. I can even consider starting Reguilon, who has Sheffield this week. I'll probably go for Flecken ahead of Neto as well. And this is likely how the team's going to look like, right? A very, very decent team. And then come game week 34, this is when I intend to free hit. So I haven't come up with a free hit 34 draft at the moment, but let's just click the free hit button here. This would make transfers unlimited. And then we see in game week 35, I immediately have my Manchester United assets back as well for this Burnley at home fixture. So game week 35 would likely be the game week that I'm going to start loading up on Newcastle assets now. So Tony would be leaving the team for Alexander Isak, because this is when Newcastle have Sheffield United at home. And thereafter, I would also want one more Newcastle asset. So the plan is actually to do Zabani out to Lascelles, who should be in the team for the rest of the season because Botman is now out for the rest of the season based off of what we've heard over the course of the international break. So Lascelles in, right, for Zabani, and then Isak in for Ivan Toney. This leaves me with pretty much quite a bit of space to move around because I have 2 million in the bank, right? So this would be again for a -4. So the only -4s I've taken so far is the one in game week 30, which I plan to do right now, and then the second one is here in game week 35 for a -4 to get Isak and Lascelles in. So now I'll come to game week 36 now. This is when I think I'll probably also take another -4, but this would likely be the last -4. So this would be for Morris to Jackson. This is to set up for, firstly, they double in game week 36. Let me just click on the set Planet FPL projected fixture so that, yeah, there we go. Right, so you can see that Chelsea double here in game week 36. This is part of the predictions that Planet FPL and also Ben Krellin has. So this would be a good week to do Morris up to Jackson. By then, hopefully, the yellow card situation would be settled and he should be fine for at least the next few games from 36 all the way to the rest of the season. So Nicholas Jackson in for Carlton Morris and then Neto to Dubravka, right? So this would obviously leave me quite well set up for game week 37 because all these transfers moving forward have all been based off of teams that double in game week 37, right? So taking a look at the team right now, if I take this -4 in game week 36, which is to bring Dubravka in for Neto and then Jackson in for Morris, this is how the team would look like for game week 37, right? If I start all the double game week players, you will realize that it is actually a pretty decent team that I can get to. And I don't think it would be too far away from a team that, let's say, is wild carding in game week 35 to set up for the rest of the season, right? So I'm starting all the double game week players here in my starting 11. The bench is Flecken, Salah, Reguilon, and Saka. So for Salah and Saka, I'm pretty sure that there will be some teams in Game Week 37, even though you're wildcarding in Game Week 35, let's say, you will still have these players. And come Game Week 37, it will be very hard to sell these players because in Game Week 38, you would want them back as well. So there is obviously a case where you can go without, Saka or without Salah, but carrying them through, I would be totally fine. So having a bench boost that has Salah and Saka, I would be alright with that. Considering I also have one free transfer here in Game Week 37 to remove one more single game week player for a double game week player, what I can consider is either a keeper transfer, right, or a defensive transfer to remove Reguilon, because at the end of the day, they have similar fixtures. So I would likely do the defensive transfer to bring in one more double game week player. It could be different players. I mean, I for now the plan is Ake, right, because he's the one that I can reach with the budget that I have. But come the time that Game Week 37 comes around, I'm sure a lot of information will come in that could obviously, change the plans that I have. But at least based off of the current transfer route that I'm going to go for, this is likely how my team is going to look like for Game Week 37 if I do bench boost. And I don't mind it at all because Salah, Saka, and an Ake with double game week there, as well as Flecken. I'm going to ignore the keeper situation because if I take a look at the Game Week 37 fixtures, right, there's not particularly a keeper that I'm going to be very confident is going to keep 2 clean sheets for the double game week fixtures. So I'm perfectly alright actually to just go with a single game week keeper here in Game Week 37. And then just focus on bringing one more double game week player for Reguilon. And this is likely how it's going to look like. So let me know what you guys think. Bringing us back all the way to Game Week 30 now, you realize how these transfers set me up for the future as well. So Salah and Gusto in for Game Week 30 is likely going to be my transfer. And in terms of captaincy, I will decide closer to the deadline. It will be quite split. I would imagine Son, Salah, and Palmer would be all very popular captaincy options. So we'll see where it is. For now, I still do have it on Son, but we'll see how I feel closer to the deadline. Hopefully this video was helpful for those of you guys in my situation, as well as those of you guys thinking of planning ahead for the future game weeks as well, who you want to bring in if you don't really have enough chips, etc. I will probably have a deadline stream tomorrow. I will try my best, but currently it does seem as if I would not be able to. So in the event that I'm not able to, I will still post my team on my socials, Twitter, Instagram. If you guys do want to follow my team, just head on over there and I will be posting my team there as well just before the deadline. But if not, thank you guys for watching and I will catch you guys in more Game Week 30 content very soon.